Welcome to Say More, the podcast where we expand the conversation around what it means to be human. My name is Andy Spray, and as always, I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Emily Lawyer, licensed professional counselor, and we are answering your real questions about what's going on in your life, what it means to be human to you. We are creating a community where we can grow together, learn how to connect more to self in order to connect more to others and more to God. That's what we're doing. Hi.
Boosting my confidence right off the bat.
Well, you
Hello,
know.
my also beautiful co-host.
Oh, that's what I was really hoping for. That was the reason I said it. I needed a little bit from you. So before we get started today, I have to issue a statement.
Okay.
This is like
Official.
Okay. It's an official retraction of something that
like
I said.
Like a publication.
This is
the New York Times.
Is like exactly.
Okay.
Well, first I want to say this is a shout out to my good friend Kate, who is a loyal listener.
Okay.
Our daughters are best friends. We've become friends through them and, you know, neighborhood walking buddies. And she's been listening to all the podcasts. First thing, this is not the retraction, but first thing is she told me she is Catholic and she listened a couple episodes ago. We talked about families and discipling your kids. And she texted me and said, I have not once, never in my life heard the phrase disciple your kids. So I had to say, I guess that's very evangelical coded.
This is, thank you, Kate. Thank you for that
for
feedback.
pointing that out.
Yes.
Catholic representation. If you've never heard that phrase, that's apparently, because, you know, it's like shorthand.
Totally.
To people we grew up with.
Yes,
right?
totally.
So she was like, what does that even mean? But she kept listening. So thank you. But here is, okay, I got to take a deep breath for this one. We were talking, I think it's in the depression episode.
Okay.
It's in the depression episode. And it's even more humbling because I'm talking about how much I love trivia.
Yeah.
And it's the I should have known that.
Yeah.
And I talk about realizing I was low-key depressed. And I was talking about our beloved Clueless and Paul Rudd.
Oh, no. Did you get something wrong?
She texted me and she was like, hey, FYI, Clueless is based on Jane Austen, not Shakespeare. I referenced, and I was like, no, I should have known that. And I want to believe I did know that. And I just misspoke. But that's an official, if I've offended the literary people.
We're so sorry.
The Illuminati who are listening and who are well-versed in Brit-lit. I apologize. Jane Austen was the inspiration for Clueless.
Oh.
Not Shakespeare.
Okay.
Different time period, same island.
Okay.
Different time period. So I wanted to say an official, I should have known that. But now I get to be winsome about it and make you feel better for all of your gaffes.
Which was the whole point.
It was the whole point. This was definitely planned 100%. So this is not related. I don't have a segue, but I've got a little game for us today.
Excellent. Okay, right turn.
A right turn. A little quiz for you and I. And because I'm going to be asking really both of us because I'm answering these as I go. But for our listener, Emily and I are both recovering level 5 people pleasers.
In fact, so much level 5 that when you just used the word quiz, I got a little excited because that's an opportunity to get an A.
Is that maybe the shame of getting my answer wrong about Jane Austen is I wasn't the best girl? It's possible.
It's highly possible.
Kate's not going to think I'm the best girl anymore. And that's causing me deep stress.
You did have a tie-in.
I did. That was the tie-in. It was right there all along. So we are recovering people pleasers.
Yes, totally.
So this is a little compilation I've made. You at home can listen and decide if you yourself might be on some level of this people-pleasing spectrum.
Okay, fun.
And I want to know along the way some of your stories. Okay. Number 1, have you ever lied to a store employee and said you are finding everything okay?
Oh.
When you are mid-looking for that item. I'm actively sweating looking for the item.
While you're looking.
And they come up to you, especially bonus if it's like a Home Depot.
Trader
and a place
Joe's.
You feel like you don't belong.
Or
Trader Joe's.
I feel like they watch to see if people can find what they are looking for. And then they sneak up on you and ask you, are you finding everything that you're looking for?
Definitely.
Yep.
And you go home without the viral, whatever you're looking for at Trader Joe's. 100%. Okay. Have you ever bought something because you felt bad especially if it's in like a boutique where there's like one shop person there and you're like everything. Or you like walk around and you're like, it's so cute, even though you hate everything.
Yes,
you're like, it's so cute. Now I'll definitely be back.
Yes.
I'm hitting it on my way back.
Absolutely.
No intentions about, or you bought something.
Oh, for sure. This must be taken from like some sort of secret camera footage of my life through the years.
Well, I was on the phone with my sister this morning and she just went to the eye doctor and she was like, I really wanted to go to Warby Parker, but I got the glasses from the optometrist because I felt bad. So I bought glasses I didn't want.
That's a major purchase.
Well, I think it was, maybe she had the insurance something, but she was like, they weren't the ones I wanted. And I was just like, yeah, no, I love them. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
She's part of the club.
Have you ever taken a receipt when you didn't want the receipt?
All that probably happens.
Maybe every time.
Every time.
I don't ever want the receipt.
Yes. No.
I don't ever look at receipts. I don't know if we're supposed to anymore. I don't.
No.
Am I supposed to be cataloging them? If I take them, they just live in my purse or float around my car. But I always take them.
Yes. But in my mind, if I say no, I'm going to
hurt their feelings.
I'm going to hurt their feelings. They're going to be mad at me. I've ruined their day. I've diminished their job.
If that random 16-year-old cashier is mad at me, forget it. It's over for the rest of the day. So yes, of course I will take the receipt. Print me too. I'll take both of them. Okay, now this is one I don't know that I would really do anymore. I definitely have done. Have you ever accepted food at a restaurant that you either didn't order, you didn't want, it wasn't good, and you're just like, yep, the rice pilaf was definitely what I wanted?
Yes. Now that is one where I have significantly grown.
Yes, me too. Why is that? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question. But for sure, that has absolutely happened.
When I was early married, we were out to eat with my in-laws, and my Coke came and it was like kind of flat. And I think I said it quietly, like, oh, gross. And my mother-in-law was like, excuse me, her soda's flat. Can you replace? I wanted to sink into my chair and disappear completely. Now I would definitely, unless I really didn't want to hurt someone's feelings.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. But I think I would say, excuse me, can I have another soda? Or if they brought me a Diet Coke instead of a real Coke. And I know you have the opposite.
I do.
Opposite.
I do.
But I've grown in that area, but for sure you have done that before.
And these are strangers. These are people that I've never met before and will probably never see again.
But I want them to be wowed by my patronage. I want them to go home and be like, she really was.
Tell other
she
people.
was the best girl. She was the best girl. Have you ever avoided a text because you wanted to say no to something, but you didn't want to hurt somebody's feelings, so you just ignored it until it was too late?
Until it was like weeks later.
And then maybe you're like, whoops, just seeing this now.
Absolutely.
I'm actually currently avoiding
apologies to anyone listening who I actually have ignored that text.
I didn't know how to say it, but I didn't want to go. And so I just didn't respond. Okay. This next question cracks me up because I was workshopping some of these with my husband, Matt. You know Matt. We're all friends. And the thing about Matt is he is so annoyingly secure. He's like beautifully free.
Yes. Immune to all this.
He's immune to this. And like genuinely, I think he is the person who least concerned, I don't mean this in a bad way, but like least concerned about what other people think about. Like he's just going to be true to what is right for him and not worry about it. So I asked him this question. Okay, first the question is, have you ever lost sleep worrying somebody was mad at you?
Yes.
I mean, hours of
for
sleep over my whole life.
For sure.
I asked this to Matt and he paused and then he had to repeat the question because it didn't even really, he was just like, lost sleep because somebody was mad. And then he had to like, well, I mean, maybe one time I was kind of worried, but no.
What must it be like to live that kind of life?
He's just out there being free.
That kind of freedom.
It's really unfair.
It is.
It's really wild. He's just bebopping through life, but I'm losing sleep. So he said no. He couldn't think of a specific example. And I'm like, if I go to bed at night and don't stay up thinking about someone being mad at me, I'm having a good night.
Or it'll wake me up sometimes in the middle of
the
sleep.
3 a.m.
Yes. And then forget it.
Have you ever agreed, and this is something I think he would tacitly say no to. Have you ever agreed to an activity or a restaurant like that you knew you didn't like?
Yes.
And you're like, of course.
Yes.
Let's do that girls' night at Applebee's.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Applebee's for sure.
Specifically.
For sure.
Why do they want to go to Applebee's? I've hated it forever, but I'll go. You ask me.
I really don't like the chocolate mudslide. I really don't care for the 5 apps for $5 or whatever it is.
No.
But no, I have spent way more time in Applebee's than I would have liked to.
When I was much younger, people like want to go out dancing and stuff. I never liked that scene. But it's like, of course. No, let's definitely do what you want to do.
Yes.
And I'm going to fit in and you're going to think that I'm really having a great time.
Yes,
but I'm not.
For sure.
Okay, here's a universal, I dare say universal female one. I would like to know if you are a female listening and this has not been true for you.
Okay.
Because mad respect. Have you ever told a stylist you liked your haircut and then later went in your car and cried?
Yes, for sure. That might be, yes, a little more.
That's what I'm wondering.
Of a female oriented, but I 100%, 110% have done that multiple times.
Multiple times. I want to know if you're a man, not that maybe you didn't cry in your car, but that you lied because you didn't want to hurt the guy's feelings. I for sure have been like, I love it. It's exactly what I wanted. One time, I wish I could show pictures. One time I brought in a photo and I was like, this is what I want.
Okay.
And they cut it easily 5 inches above that and then blew it out. And it was like Diana Ross and the Supremes, like under my chin. And it was so big and voluminous.
From the 60s. Diana Ross.
And it looked like a wig. And we went out to dinner afterwards and Matt was like, wow, your hair is like you really took a swing. But it was like awful. It was not at all what I wanted, but I'm positive I told her, yes, thank you. I love it so much. It's exactly like this picture I showed you. Not at all.
Females definitely don't have the corner on the market when it comes to people pleasing.
No,
so
for sure.
I would imagine, there's got to be some guys out there who can identify with what we're talking about.
I want to know. I want to hear from them.
You go in and ask for a low fade and you get something very different than what you asked for.
But did you say something?
That's true.
And were you motivated by not hurting feelings?
That's true.
Which is what maybe there's like a social anxiety of like, I just didn't want to say it. But for me, it's like, I actively want her to go home and be like, I did a great job on that girl's hair. Meanwhile, I am weeping about it. Okay. Have you ever apologized to an inanimate object?
Yes.
That you bumped into?
Absolutely.
I have felt like I've hurt the feelings of things. I broke a cup once and I was like, that poor cup. He lived such a good life. Like I'm worried about hurting the cup's feelings now. That's when it's unhinged. That's when it's level 5. Now here's one. Have you ever said sorry when somebody told you say sorry too much?
Oh, sorry for saying sorry too much? Oh, for sure.
Someone ever been like, Emily, you really need to, you don't need to apologize anymore. It's fine, Emily. You don't need to say sorry. And you're like, sorry, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry about that.
I'm so sorry.
That's a good one.
Have you ever accepted like a donation? Like somebody's like, I thought you would want this for your house, or I thought you would want these clothes that don't fit me. And you're like, yeah, totally. Yes. I 100% want that.
Yes. And then went straight to the Goodwill bin and dumped them.
But I actually had a memory when I was thinking about this is that somebody gave me
we do have a story.
Bin. Now, in this sense, it was really her not respecting boundaries because she did not ask me.
Correct.
She just sort of dumped a bin of kids' clothes. And by this point, my kids were older. And it was not stuff that my daughter would have wanted to wear. And she just was like, here you go. So it was really kind of her dumping it on me. But I 100% was like, great, thank you so much. This is going to be very special and meaningful. And we got out to the parking lot. You're like, give it to me. And you immediately took it to the donation dumpster.
I must have been in the stage where I was really trying to overcorrect.
You were very assertive.
My people pleasing.
Yes.
And that I saw that as an opportunity to make some change.
Well, I appreciate it because I was just going to let it live in the trunk of my car. It probably would still be there. This was like 6 years ago. It would still be in the trunk of my car right now had you not. You're like, just give it to me. And I was like, but what if she knows? You're like, give it to me right now. All right. Have you ever, this goes maybe with the other one about the cups, but have you hurt your pet's feelings?
Abs. I have
Now, a pet is more than a cup. Don't hear me wrong.
Verbally apologized. I'm so sorry. I had to say no because I just know my pet.
Sorry, I had to say no to you.
So angry, and I have really hurt their feelings, and I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad at me.
Please, I want you to think I'm doing a really good job. Don't be mad at me. All right, we're gonna wrap it up on this one.
Okay,
this is a big one. Okay, this is like the final boss of people pleasing.
Okay.
Have you now or have you ever been a teacher's pet?
The better question is, was there ever a year where you were not
First of all,
the teacher's
never,
pet?
Not a single class ever.
Ever.
Now, you were more of an academic goody-goody than I was. I'm just going to let the people know.
Okay.
But if they, as the teacher, I was the quintessential pleasure to have in class.
Oh,
for sure.
Every time on the report card.
For sure. And if the teacher liked me enough, I didn't necessarily feel like I had to prove that to them by getting straight A's.
Okay.
I know you did.
I went for 2 gold medals there.
2 gold. I was competing in the personality category. But now, here's where I've leveled up one on you.
Okay.
I am my kids' teacher's pet.
Oh, you have leveled up.
I have leveled up.
That is a whole nother...
That's a whole nother thing. When my kids started school, my daughter's kindergarten teacher really intimidated me. And I was like, yes, ma'am, I will be there. I will be the volunteer. I will do all the volunteer things. Now, I like volunteering and I like helping. But for her, it was like, please think that I'm doing a good job because I want you to think that I'm the best mom volunteer. And then I would volunteer for art. And then the art teacher was like, you're a really great volunteer. And I was like, I'm a really great volunteer. And she goes, could you come and volunteer for this other class? But my child was not in. Okay. So then I'm volunteering for the art for random kids.
Yeah. But she said it's like catnip.
She said the magic words.
You're a really good volunteer.
A really good volunteer. Then she was like, could you go home and do some light craft work for me?
Oh my goodness.
Now, to be fair, I do like a light craft.
You're very, very talented at that.
I like artsy stuff. But as my hand was atrophying, I was cutting out these spirals and I was like, I've made a huge mistake. I have allowed the distraction, but I want you to think that I'm the best volunteer. I want the principal to be like, wow, that mom can really volunteer, right? I want everybody to know I've been at every field day. I've been on every field trip, every class party. Do you need me to bring something? I'll bring something. I'll bring 10 somethings.
Yes, no matter the cost.
I'll furnish your home, teacher. I'll do whatever you want. No matter the cost, personal time, I'm doing it.
I will eat the cost. I will absorb the cost. If it means that I know you will be pleased with me. Just more than anybody else.
But also, could you tell me I'm doing a good job?
And could you tell me? I saw a tweet once that said, oh, you say you're a people pleaser? Name 3 people who are pleased with you right now. And I thought, yes, that is brilliant. Because it so describes the experience of a people pleaser in that, okay, I said no to myself so I could say yes to them.
Yeah.
Everything's right with the world. They're okay, so I'm okay. Until 2 seconds later when everything's not okay again.
And when a new person needs you to exchange your own things for theirs.
Exactly.
And then you got to start it all over again.
That momentary, all right, everything is all right, is so fleeting. It's like trying to, catch a cloud.
Well, then I started looking into people pleasing and it was like, it's actually selfish because really it's just, and I was like, I don't want to hear that. It's probably true, but I don't want to hear it. Just tell me I'm the best girl. Okay. So from one best girl to another, let's go ahead and hear our question this week.
Hey, Emily and Andy, couple questions for you. How do I say no to my mom without feeling guilty? And when I make her feel uncomfortable, how do I deal with the repercussions of her putting the guilt back on me?
All right. So the first thing I want to do is commend our community of listeners because these questions are so bravely vulnerable. Yeah. And I think that is just so wonderful for all of us to know these are real, like we say, these are real questions. These are real things that we're all trying to move our way through as humans. So we are so appreciative of that. This question in particular is talking about boundaries. And when we talk about boundaries, our proclivity is to kind of jump to a solution first because it feels good to be able to say, all right, somebody tell me what to do. I got to figure out what to do and then I can do it and we can be done with this. And I can understand that I've certainly been there. And there's a lot of places that you can go to find solutions for people pleasing. Like there are some that are really popular right now. The let them theory is very much in the water. It's really common to hear, you just have to remember that you're not responsible for other people's feelings. And those are good.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They're good.
What is that doing for me?
Well, that's the thing. In that all those solutions are part of it. They're really, really good. It's just that where you and I have been sitting in this podcast is like we've been saying, we want to expand the conversation because for some people, they might be able to jump right into a solution. For others, that might feel incomplete and it might feel frustrating that I'm trying to do these things, but I feel like I can't get any traction. So I was thinking through maybe kind of how I wanted to talk about this today. And I think what I'd like to do is take a cue from another one of my heroes, the GOAT of college basketball coaching, Mr. John Wooden. Oh, we just got a laugh from our producer.
That's good because I'm like, huh? Who? And to be honest, I do know who this is because of you. Because you do talk about him.
I do.
You love him. She's an Indiana girl. She's got to love basketball. It's contractually obligated.
Correct. And I just have so much admiration for him. He is the winningest coach of all time.
Okay.
He has won more basketball games and tournaments than any other coach in the history of college basketball.
Not Coach K. That's the only one I could pull up.
He has won one. You go and ask 100 people on the street who's the greatest of all time. 9 out of 10 of them are going to say John Wooden.
John Wooden. Okay.
So if anybody knew about how to win a basketball game, it was John Wooden. If anybody knew the solutions, if anybody knew which plays to run, how to go about doing that, it was John Wooden.
He's got answers.
Okay.
He's got receipts. Do they have rings in college basketball? He's got rings.
That's a good question. I don't know. They have nets. They cut down the nets.
He's got nets.
Okay. Do you know what he would do in the first practice every time he started a new season? The first thing that he would teach his players, the first thing they would focus on.
The first thing they would focus on, shooting.
No. Good guess. Especially from someone who is not a basketball fan.
No, I played in 5th grade and my team was the B-ball babes. So I come with great authority.
Was that really the name?
That was really the name. Somebody do an investigation on that coach. That was really the name. You didn't know about my storied basketball career.
No. Okay.
Okay. So not shooting, not maybe like passing drills.
No. Good guess.
Okay.
Also very important. He would teach his players how to put on their socks.
Okay. We're starting that basic.
That because the way they put on their socks would determine whether or not they got blisters during the game.
Really?
Yes. And if you get blisters, then you can't even play. You can't even pass the ball. You can't even shoot the ball. So this episode today, we are going to take a cue from Coach Wooden. We are going to start with how do I even, when it comes to people pleasing, when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to the guilt, like our question said, the guilt that I feel when I say no, especially to my closest relationships like mom or dad or somebody in my family, we are going to start basically with putting on our socks.
All right, break it down to the sock level.
All right, first question. Let's just start with what are boundaries even? Okay. Boundaries are a line of separation. They let me know where I end and you begin.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like a fence line, okay? It lets me know what I am responsible for and what you are responsible for. It lets me know what I am supposed to own, what you're supposed to own, what I am in charge of, what you're in charge of. Okay. What I'm supposed to control, what you're supposed to control. Now, a lot of the time when we talk about boundaries, we talk about physical boundaries, and that's a little easier to determine the line of separation because there's a more tangible line. This question is talking about something we would call internal boundaries.
Okay.
And that's where things get much blurrier, much more fuzzy, because internal boundaries create a line of separation between emotions. What are my emotions to own? What are your emotions to own?
Okay.
Internal boundaries create a line around beliefs. What are my beliefs? What are your beliefs? Internal boundaries create a line of separation around perspectives. What's my perspective of what's happening right now? What's your perspective of what's happening right now? And because it's more of an intangible type of thing that we're working with, it is much, much easier for that line of separation to be very blurry and hard to determine kind of where I end and you begin. So if we're talking about, well, what would be the purpose of that? Like we're saying, if I can know where the line is, then I have a much easier chance of being able to say, actually, that's not mine to own. That's yours to own. But if that line is blurry, if I don't even know where the line is, then I'm just going to assume that it's all my responsibility.
So like what you were saying earlier, like just the phrase of like, you're not responsible for people's feelings isn't really enough if I don't even have a clear sense of what the boundary is supposed to be.
Correct. And when it comes to these things that internal boundaries put a line around, again, it can just be really, really difficult to know when that's happening, to see where that line is. A lot of times it happens because we just don't verbally name these things as often. Like I call it it's kind of like the Anchorman principle. You know, in the movie Anchorman, he narrates out loud everything that he's doing to almost an absurd, that's why it's funny. It's like an absurd level. Like he's, lifting the weight and he says, oh, it hurts, it burns because I did so many reps. But we just don't normally say those types of things out loud. I don't normally say to my child, I'm feeling really sad right now, and it's my responsibility to own my sadness.
Okay.
It's my responsibility to control or manage what's happening with myself right now. 5-year-old, it's not your response. Those things just don't happen
They don't
as
get
often.
said, so they're not really being taught ever.
Something is being taught, but it's being taught indirectly. And we've kind of mentioned this a little bit in some prior episodes, that if things do not get verbally or explicitly stated, when a child is observing a change in mood or a child is observing a change in dynamic in the family, when a child is observing something just shifted with mom, and there is no verbal explanation of what's happening, then as a child, because this is just the way my brain is going to make sense of what's happening, I'm going to assume that shift has happened because of something I did.
Okay.
It's my fault. It's that happened because I did something wrong. And therefore, it's my job to fix it. It's my job to do something so that everybody can be okay again. Now, what I usually choose to fix it is saying, I don't have any needs right now. I am not allowed to have any needs right now. I'm not allowed to have any preferences right now, any wants. I shut those down.
That's how you would develop being a people pleaser, you're saying?
That could be a very, very common way of how the people pleasing gets developed.
Okay, interesting. And I have a question that's a little, and you can tell me if this needs to be paused until later on, but this person is talking specifically about boundaries with her mom. Are there different boundaries for different people in our lives, different relationships?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think when it comes to our relationship with mothers, developing this line of separation is even trickier.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's because, I mean, we even know from research, there are chemical and hormonal changes that happen when a child is born that develop sort of a sixth sense, right, between a mother and child. We call it mother's intuition.
Huh.
And so there is this unspoken bond that is happening. And yes, it would make it even more challenging to be able to kind of develop that line of, to use some counseling words, we call it a line of differentiation, a line of separation where I know this is mine, that's mom's. That would be even more challenging.
So you're saying this is now the final boss of boundaries.
Yes.
We got to the final boss of people. It's your mom.
Especially
your mom because of that.
Yes.
But also in different relationships, and there might be different dynamics that
Absolutely.
mean different levels of boundaries.
Absolutely. Like I know for myself, I actually have a blurrier line of separation with my dad.
Huh.
Just because my dad, if anyone was going to name an emotion or what was happening on, it was probably more going to be my mom than my dad. And I'm a firstborn.
Okay.
So that relationship developed very, very early on, where I was the only kid in the family who was kind of paying attention to what's happening with the parents. What do I need to do to make sure everybody is okay? So it doesn't always end up manifesting the most with mom. For some people, it can be different. But I think there is a particular challenge in developing that line of separation with mom.
And what happens if that isn't developed?
What happens if that isn't developed? That's when we start to see people-pleasing developing. If that line of, again, differentiation is not happening, and ideally, that starts at birth. That differentiation process starts at birth, and then ideally, it continues to grow as I grow up as a child. I am able to have more and more independence, more and more opportunities to try out my preferences. I mean, clearly, when a child is young, you're going to give them opportunities to try that out that don't come with severe consequences. Things like, would you like to wear your red shoes today or your blue shoes today, right? So those, and that continues to develop so that I get this understanding of this is mine to own and this is mom's to own, or this is mine to own and this is dad's to own. If that does not happen, then I just assume that it's all my responsibility. I assume that it's all my job to make sure that everybody is okay. And then things some people use the word enmeshed. Some people use the word emotionally fused. Some people use the word codependent. Bottom line is what happens is this belief, and it's not just a thought. It is a belief that gets embodied in our nervous system. It's a belief of, if you're okay, then I'm okay.
Right.
If you're not okay, then I'm not okay.
And if you're not okay, hoops do I need to start jumping through to get you to be okay?
In no world can you not be okay and I'm still okay.
Right.
That is what can manifest if those boundaries, if that line of separation is not necessarily developed, if it's not reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
And then we end up, like you and I named in our quiz, high levels of self-doubt, high levels of needless and wantless, high levels of low self-confidence, unless I have this belief, this perspective that this other person is pleased with me. And as we also named in the quiz, not just pleased with me at an average level.
No.
Above average.
I want to be the best.
I want to be the best. And I remember.
I want that TSA employee to go home and be like, did you see how well she took out those toiletries and unpacked her computer and walked through? Did you see that? I want them to stop the line to address it. How efficient I am.
And I think we can also name, again, we try to bring a lot of grace in this podcast. nobody is going to get this perfect. It's just not possible because there's just too much opportunity for the emotional fusion to occur, because we are created to be deeply, deeply relational. We are created to notice when somebody's mood is shifting.
Yeah.
We are created to notice when somebody else is not okay. That's part of being human. And so to say that, oh, well, I'm going to be able to move through life without this ever happening, it's just not possible. What we're naming is, if you have found yourself at a level where the emotional fusion is really high,
yeah,
or the guilt is really intense and really strong, then it could be that these sort of things happen more often for you.
And I want to know if you are saying most people don't get out of this, completely without some of this level. What do you do? Because let's say you grew up, maybe you have severely underdeveloped boundaries,
right.
but everybody's having some kind of misinterpretation
right.
of boundaries
right.
or mishandling of boundaries.
Yes.
Then what?
Well, the first step is a lot of what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Just allowing our awareness to increase.
Okay.
Like, I remember the first time that I became aware that somebody could have some sort of reaction and it wasn't about me. It was my first time in therapy. I was an adult, so I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I remember my therapist said to me, I was telling her about some interaction that I had with someone, and I was racked with guilt, like sick to my stomach at how I had caused this, trying to figure out what I needed to do to fix this. And she even just kind of threw it out there, just sort of an offhand statement. Well, a lot of the times, in fact, most of the time, when people are dealing with something, it has nothing to do with you. And
record scratch
completely blew me back against the wall. It had never even occurred to me that it might not be about me. So that's how strong my level of enmeshment was.
Yeah.
That even in my 30s, the awareness had just happened for me. So that's the first step, is to just become a little bit more aware of what's happening. I think it can be helpful also to just kind of name when we're feeling the guilt.
Okay.
To name why it's guilt instead of some other emotion.
Yeah, that's a good question. Why is it guilt?
Yes. So if we name guilt, I feel guilt when I believe, again, this is going back to my belief, when I believe that I have committed an offense against someone, when I have shirked my responsibility, I have let somebody down. Now, going back to what we said earlier, if those lines are blurred and I'm believing that everything that's happening is in my yard, so therefore it's all my responsibility,
right?
Then I'm going to believe when somebody else's mood changes, I'm going to believe I've committed an offense against them. I've let them down. I haven't owned the responsibility that was mine to own. That's a faulty belief because it was formed with my little 2-year-old brain, but it's a very real belief. And so therefore, the guilt is going to come up.
So what do I do to untangle
untangle the guilt?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where we're going to get to putting on our socks
on.
All
okay.
right. The first thing is awareness. That's what we're going to start with first. The next thing that we're going to do is, and I'm going to draw from one more movie for today. You know how in Indiana Jones, when Indiana is going into the Temple of Doom, and there's like a bag of something that's holding the weight so that the temple doesn't crumble?
Yes.
And he knows he's going to have to take the bag off, but he has to put a counterweight. This is also like in Ocean's 11 movies when there's like a jewelry heist, right? That the part of the plan is, if we're going to steal the jewel, we've got to put a counterweight so the alarm doesn't go off.
I think it's like an idol and he's got to like put the bag down.
At the exact same time, right? Okay.
Although I think that might be in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know. You might have to have your own retraction next episode. We'll have to look that up. But I know what you're talking about. He's got the weighted bag.
Right.
And he's trying to swap the gold idol so it doesn't trigger the...
Exactly. Okay. That's what we're going to do with our nervous systems.
Am I the monkey in this scenario?
No, go back.
Go back. Sorry.
Okay. We have to put a counterweight. Because,
Okay.
and this is why sometimes this jumping into the solution first, we just find it incomplete.
Oh, I see. Okay.
If what has been keeping the temple from crumbling is people pleasing, is doing whatever I believe the other person needs so that they can be okay. Maybe it's, I feel some sort of emotion and I know that, or I believe that that's going to set somebody else off. So the way I keep things from crumbling is I dissociate from my emotions. I push them aside. I put my needs on the back burner so that the other person can be okay. That's what's been holding things up. If I'm going to experiment with removing that, I have to put a counterweight.
Okay.
Otherwise, the whole temple's going to come crumbling down. Okay. So the first counterweight we're going to put is just accepting that I feel guilty.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to name it. I feel guilty. And that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Given how these things develop, given what my 5-year-old brain has been believing my whole life, it makes sense that I'm feeling guilty right now when I'm experimenting with saying no to mom.
Yeah.
I'm just going to accept it. That is the first counterweight we're going to put.
Okay.
All right. We're also going to put a counterweight of getting myself to something that can help me manage myself. Some connection, some grounding exercise where I'm going to manage my anxiousness first. Everything in me is going to want to focus on the other person.
Oh, I know.
Everything in me is going to say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't you know you're going to ruin the relationship? Don't you know that everything is going to come crumbling down? So the first thing I'm feeling guilty, and that makes sense. And then I'm going to put a counterweight of maybe I go for a 5-minute walk. Maybe I text a friend, hey, I'm experimenting with saying no. Can you remind me that this is part of an okay growth pattern?
But I'm not going to text my mom and apologize in this moment.
In this moment,
I'm going to
put a counterweight for me to be okay a different way.
Okay.
A different way. Maybe I connect with God. Maybe I ask God to help with the anxiousness that I'm feeling and the fear. Maybe I go to a partner. Can you give me a hug right now? Because everything in me right now, at the bodily level, this is not just a thought. This is everything in my nervous system and everything that I'm feeling in my body right now is saying, what are you doing? So I have to calm the body in order for that counterweight to be able to take place.
So recognize that I'm feeling guilty.
And accept it.
Accept it.
And name
Let's
it.
take it a step further. Name and accept that I'm feeling guilty. And 2, do something that's calming the physical, what I'm feeling in my body.
For myself. For myself. And then the last thing is, again, we're going to take a cue from Coach Wooden. I practice. I do it over. I do that over and over and over. I put a counterweight over and over and over again. John Wooden used to say you have to do something correct 500 times in practice before you can do it correctly once in a game.
Wow.
And so this is a process. We're not going for perfection here. This is how change happens. You experiment at the foundational level with how do I want to manage the anxiousness that's happening in me? And then I just do it over and over and over and over and over again. And that guilt, it's baked in. I don't think the goal is for it to completely go away, for me to never feel it again. What we're going for is, can I reduce the intensity? Can I reduce the duration of it by practicing?
That is something my therapist told me one time, because this is obviously, as you heard in the beginning, been a long time struggle for me too. And she was just like, you might never get to a point where you feel great about it.
No, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
But you're getting more comfortable with it, of kind of identifying where those boundaries are and getting more comfortable letting go and doing it again the next time.
Right.
But you might not get to a point where you're like, woo, I feel completely guilt-free about saying no to that thing, or disappointing. You're letting them live with that disappointment because it was not something that worked for me.
Right. And to go back to the question, it's even okay to say that to mom. Mom, I know this is hard for both of us. I'm trying something new. And that might be part of the process as well, in the acceptance and letting myself just kind of recognize it's okay if this guilt is still coming up. I'm just working with how do I manage it in a different way.
So we've got some work to do, some homework to do, some practice to do of making those counterweights and doing all of those drills, hitting your socks on.
Ooh,
and
look
doing
at you go.
I know. I'm like so into sports. Don't be intimidated. Emily did make my children watch Hoosiers this year
I did.
during
Proud.
March Madness.
No apologies.
No apologies. So we're all basketballed up at my house. So you're doing your drills, you're practicing, and you're just getting used to that sensation of, I'm going to feel guilty and it's still going to be okay. I'm going to feel guilty and it was still the right choice for me to hold that boundary.
Yes.
I'm going to maybe feel anxious in my body and it was still the right decision for me to do.
Yes.
That's a lot of work for us. So keep going. If you're out there listening, if you are also a level 5 people pleaser, if you're experimenting with having boundaries in your relationships, especially with mom. Again, that's not the only type of boundaries we need to have, but keep at it. Keep practicing. How many times do we have to get it right in practice? 500?
Well,
John, that sounds like a lot. That feels like hyperbole, I hope. But we got to practice.
Yes.
And practice.
Practice and practice.
And practice. And you can do it. And we're here to help because life is messy and we're in this together. So keep sending us your questions. You can record them. You can text them. You can send them in a number of ways. We want to keep the conversation going. And we're so glad you're here
Absolutely.
along the journey with us.
Absolutely.
All right. See you next time.